All right, so what Fuji's done, this is a brand new EZ series of products specifically for repair. And so what it is an entire system including a bobbin, a very different type of thread in both no CP or opaque and sort of transparent colors, where in order to repair or even build an entire rod, you don't require a lathe, a wrapping machine, all that kind of stuff. There's some easy epoxy that goes with it that I'll show you in a minute, as well as some tools specifically for using that. So rather than having to invest in all the equipment like a normal rod builder just to do some repairs in your shop, you can repair anything or really build a rod from the ground up for literally, you know, less than 40 bucks. It's pretty remarkable. All right, so all I'm gonna do is hold this guide on there. This is a size single foot Fazlight 5.5. I'm going, you bet, going once behind. Now I'm starting to wrap over the guide. And you notice, unlike normal, I'm starting at the ring side of the guide, and that's fine. Once I get going a little bit, I'm just gonna trim my tag end. And I'm sorry if this is wobbly for the camera, but you could literally be doing this on the bow of the boat. You could be doing this on the dock. And I'm trying to have something like continuous touching wraps. And as I get towards the guide foot, I'm gonna spin the bobbin counterclockwise. And again, the whole reason for doing this is to flatten out the thread. And by flatten, I mean thread normally stays round like a cord. This stuff will flatten out and really help me cover that guide foot. See, and I've just absolutely covered it up. Now I'm wrapping back towards, I don't have my glasses, y'all, which makes this a little hard for me to see, but I'm just packing my wraps a little bit. I didn't do a very good job trimming my tag end, but for functional purposes, that doesn't matter very much. Here we go. Now I'm just gonna put a tie-off loop in. You can literally just whip finish this or tie a couple of square knots, overhand knots, and it will hold it in place till you put the epoxy on it. And then based on the strength of the epoxy and the formulation of the thread, I can assure you it's not going anywhere. Now once I've gone a few wraps, cut my tag end, poke it through. I can't see, we need some light. Poke it through my tie-off loop, and holding that under tension, I'm just gonna pull through my tie-off loop. So now I've got a perfectly good wrap with this guide. My trim, I'm just gonna use my thread scissors like a knife, not like scissors. And I've got a perfectly good guide wrap. Now what you guys can't see is this guide doesn't want to move. Like I'm pretending that I would be aligning it like you might align your guides, and it's on there really well. So I'm going to use my tool, and I'm going to pack, get good square edges. And now what you see here is the batch of the Fuji EZ Epo that we just mixed up a few minutes ago. And this is so fast and easy, I've literally been letting it just sit here while I'm wrapping this guide. And now I'm just going to use that spatula and load it up. It doesn't take as much as you think. You can use it flat that way and get the epoxy all the way around the guide wrap and off onto the blank. Now this is obviously not as pretty as what I teach in my advanced custom rod building skills classes and everything else like that, where you're selling a rod for several $100s and it should be flawless. But when it comes to being completely functional, this is as good as you need. And I think the key about the tool is I can either turn it sideways like this and use it like a brush to help me get coverage, or I can turn it vertical to apply finish to a real specific spot if I'm having a problem area. And that is literally all you have to do. You make sure you've got all the threads saturated. To me, that's a little bit more than we need. So I'm gonna just turn it by hand, and you can try to slowly rotate it, or really all you have to do, and this is an old school technique, is just flip it 90 degrees. And then every once in a while flip it 90 degrees. A technique that people used to teach back in the Dale Clemens days was that you would apply your finish, and then when you're done, you let it sit. This guides down for 15 seconds, guides up for 15 seconds. Next time, guides down for 30 seconds. Next time, guide up for 30 seconds, right? So it doesn't have to have a lot of science. But what I like to do, the one thing I will advise you to do is, if it'll sag, you can just remove the extra. And that's it. And we're gonna let that excess epoxy set up on the tool and in the cup so you can see how easily it comes apart, but we just completely repaired or replaced. Or if you wanted to build the whole rod, we just showed you how you can build your whole rod with nothing but a bobbin, easy bobbin, spool of easy thread, packet of easy epoxy, and the easy tool set. It's pretty slick. So we're back. We've led about less than 3.5 hours, about 3 hours and 20 minutes elapsed. And you can see we got our guide that we wrapped on and finished with our easy thread and easy bobbin. And we also have our finish, which now has set. So now we can show you some of the magic of these tools. So this is our epoxy, and all I have to do is, whoop, if I'm strong enough, pop it inside out, and there goes all our old epoxy, all set. And now we're ready to peel off any of this extra and reuse our container again. And you can reuse these thousands and thousands of times. Same thing with our tip. We deliberately left epoxy on there, and look, we're able to peel it right off by virtue of the fact that it's a special material designed to do so. And here we are, good as new, ready to use our easy epoxy application kit. Again,